Hi there, my name is Mariko and I'm a multimodal therapist and intuitive. Over the years, I've had to coach a lot of clients who have a fear of putting themselves out there. So this is a very common and universal fear. If you are experiencing this fear of putting yourself out there, whatever that looks like for you, now whether that is avoiding putting yourself or your work on social media, or whether it's shying away from talking about yourself in social situations, then this is the video for you. I'm going to talk about why this happens and give you some tips on how to change your mindset around this and change your perspective and feelings around this fear so that you can just get on with it and do what you know you should be doing. First of all, putting ourselves out there, what can this look like? So this can look like procrastinating or avoiding posting on social media when that's what you know you should be doing. This can look like not engaging in conversations with people where you know that it would be welcome to talk about your work or your services or what you have to offer. This can also look like signing up for course after course after course, convincing yourself that you don't have enough knowledge, when maybe what's going on is you're avoiding actually launching. And, I know a lot of people like this. In fact, I've taken courses with many people who are addicted to taking courses. And at some stage, you're gonna have to stop and you're gonna have to launch. So, why are we so scared of putting ourselves out there? Well, that is because it's scary. It is absolutely scary to put ourselves out there because it is risky. The risks are we could be ridiculed. We could be judged. We could even be criticized and shunned. 100%, those are the risks that we are taking. But guess what? And this is tip number 1. Understand and acknowledge that risk is a part of life, and most importantly, risk is an absolutely integral part of growth. We tend to be uncomfortable with discomfort, and risk is uncomfortable. And there's no way around it. But the truth is, if you want to grow, if you want anything in your life to change, you're going to have to step out of the status quo, step out of this comfort zone that you're in. And in order to step out of the comfort zone, you're going to have to grow. And that growth comes with risk and discomfort. So unless you're absolutely happy by everything that's going on in your life as it is, you're going to have to take a risk. And think about probably the best analogy of growth and the risk and the discomfort that comes with that growth is the birth process. Think about how much risk is on the baby and on the mother and how much discomfort is there during that process that leads to this huge quantum leap transformation for both parties, right? So the sooner that we can accept that risk is an inevitable part of growth and life at large, the sooner we can see what we want to see, what we actually want to create in our lives. And just be aware that because we are a social species and we are mammals, our nervous systems are designed to feel under threat when we are in situations where we risk being shunned by the tribe. Tribe being any large group of people, right? And we've evolved to survive with a tribe. So of course it makes sense, but just know this is why it feels extra terrifying. It's because the mere thought of being ridiculed or mocked by a large group of people, even if you don't know them, feels like this is life or death. Because in our evolution and biologically, it did mean life or death to be shunned by the tribe. But knowing that helps you to see the current situation for what it is not a life or death situation. Also, know that any past experience of rejection or ridicule that you've experienced throughout your childhood, etc., all of that is stored in the body, our somatic memories, and all of that is being re-triggered as well anytime you're asked to take this risk. So you are inherently biased in any given situation to not just come with your objective mindset of the current situation for what it is, but your whole body and nervous system is coming into the situation, recalling all of those times in the past where you were ridiculed and mocked, and like overlaying all of that experience onto the current situation. So knowing this hopefully sets you free to know that the current situation is not as scary as it feels. So don't take your feelings so seriously. Tip number 2, don't take judgment so seriously. Because absolutely, if you start putting yourself out there, you are risking being judged. And in fact, it's not risking, you are going to be judged. 100% you will be judged. Why? Because since the second you were born, you were being judged. You were being judged for being a cute baby. You were being judged for being a fat baby or a skinny baby or not walking fast enough or not talking soon enough. And none of that judgment killed you. In fact, judgment, you do it too. We all do it because it's part of human nature. Our minds judge, make snap judgments every single second of the day. We're judging that person, this person, that person. We don't even know them. So don't take judgment so seriously. Judgment has never killed anyone. Judgment hasn't. And know that judgment often says more about the person making the judgment than it does about you. Don't worry about it. And if you're at the receiving end of some harsh criticism or something judgmental, and if it hurts you, then it may be because there's an element of that feels true for you. So if there's an element of what's being said that feels truthful for you, then maybe there's something useful in that. So take away the negative emotion, take away any shame. The shame doesn't need to be there because you haven't done anything wrong. In fact, you've done something courageous by putting yourself out there. So take away any shame or any guilt, anything like that, but just receive what's being said and see, is this useful or not? If there's anything at all that's useful, take it. Be very matter of fact about it. Don't have any emotion about it. Take it, evaluate it, use what you can. Take it as constructive, even if it wasn't meant to be constructive by the person who said it. And then discard the rest. And absolutely feel no shame. This isn't an attack on you as a person. Now, if this was an actual attack on you as a person, oh my goodness, absolutely don't take that. Leave that at the door. Don't worry. That says a whole lot about that person. Because there are so many people now online who, well, they have nothing better to do than to attack. However, I want to really put this in perspective because being attacked online is a lot more rare than you think. A lot more rare. Most people are actually very nice and very kind and very helpful. And you'll be surprised at the beautiful feedback that you may well receive by putting yourself out there and how heartwarming that can be. Tip 3, now this is a very practical tip, is just get used to and practice doing more of what you're going to be doing. So, for example, if that is you need to make video content, then practice making video content. Practice taking take after take after take. When I first had to upload videos years ago, I remember spending hours just to get one good take sometimes. But whilst it made me tired, it was great because I learned so much about how I tend to speak on camera, the funny faces that I pull without realizing it, the micro expressions that are weird that I make. And every time that you take a new take, every time you practice, you are solidifying, cementing these neural pathways so that the next time will be even more natural, will be even more smooth and eloquent and articulate. So just practice. So what I mean by this is get rid of the notion of perfection straight away. Just explore. Practice with a beginner's mind, a curious mind, an exploratory mind. Practice, 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 practice. Just learn more about yourself. Learn about how you speak. Just be very observant and curious about you and how you deliver information. If it's more verbal or written content that you have to make to put your work out there, well, practice with that. Share your work, show it to friends, show it to your partner, see what the feedback is. Practice, practice, practice with a curious and exploratory mind. Tip 4, change your focus from you to what is the message you're trying to get across. What is the value of what you're trying to get across? Because we tend to get insecure when we focus on ourselves. And this is in all types of situations, whether that's social context or whether that's indeed what we're talking about here. It's because you're focusing too much on yourself. You're focusing on how you look, how you're delivering, the feedback you might get about yourself. But actually, none of that is relevant because it's not about you. Remember, this is about the value you're trying to give someone. This is why you're doing this in the first place, right? It's the value. So remember your why. Why did you create that program, that course? Why are you selling this piece of art? Why are you trying to get people on your website? Now, forget the practicalities of this. I mean, it's not because you're trying to earn a living. Yes, of course that matters. But beyond that, why did you get into this in the first place? There's some connection here you're trying to make. There's something about the other humans. You're trying to evoke something for them. You're trying to help them feel something. That's why you're doing it. So it's like, as an example, if you're trying to sell a retreat, what's the experience you're trying to give? What are the feelings you're trying to evoke in the people who attend this retreat? Remember your why and let that be the North Star behind every piece of content that you make. This is not about you. This is not about how you look, your voice. It's not about you. So let's just put that lens on the other, on the receiver of what we're trying to share. Tip 5. Related to the tip number 4, remembering your message, remembering the value you're trying to offer. A helpful way to do this, to be a constant thread behind everything that you make, every post, every piece of content, every video that you make, is to imagine 1 or 2 very specific individuals and actually visualize their faces. Your, let's say, ideal client. Imagine you're speaking directly to them. So for me, with every video that I make on YouTube or everything I post, I'm imagining 1 or 2 clients that I love, clients that I speak to, and I can literally imagine their faces and them responding to what I'm saying. So this makes it a very personal approach, and it changes the feeling of what you're trying to create. It's keeping things real, and it makes it so that it's less daunting for you. So it's not that you're, shouting out to this infinite, expansive internet universe, talking to thousands and millions of invisible people and invisible, unknown, mysterious faces. You're literally picturing 1 or 2 people who exemplify the types of people you are actually trying to engage with. And it just makes things a lot more personal and easy and comfortable. So do that. Tip number 6. Get comfortable with discomfort. So whenever you feel uncomfortable, don't try to shy or hide away from it. Pursue it with curiosity. This is where real game-changing growth lies. This is where, peak performers, top athletes, inspiring individuals, this is where they hang out. It's when they feel uncomfortable, they, again, with that curious beginner's mind, they go towards it. They approach that discomfort with curiosity. And the more you do that, the more you're growing your comfort zone, and the more comfortable those uncomfortable things become. That's growth. That's tremendous growth happening very quickly if you can do this. Because, like I said before, discomfort is just an intrinsic part of life. So the sooner you can get comfortable with feeling discomfort, the better. And if you think about our bodily physiological functions, processes, when you look at moments that the body feels uncomfortable, so let's say when you're carrying heavy bags, when you're feeling uncomfortable, when the muscles are getting tired, well, guess what's happening? Your muscles are growing. When you're in a sauna for 15-20 minutes and you're uncomfortably hot, amazingly health beneficial things are happening in the body. Same as cold plunges. Same as when you're fasting and you're hungry and you're uncomfortable. Beautiful, healthy things are happening in the body. Growth is happening. Healing is happening. So the same thing for anything that triggers your emotional discomfort. If you're averse to it, it's probably going to be good for you on some level. And what's not good for you is avoidance. Avoidance of situations for a prolonged time, that is a slow death. So instead, be curious. The discomfort is not going to kill you. It's probably going to do the opposite. It's probably going to heal you or allow you to grow and elevate yourself and elevate the conditions of your life. Because behind every dream you want to achieve is a hell of a lot of discomfort. And that's okay. That's exactly how it's meant to be. Tip number 7, something that motivates me, is this simple exercise. And I was in a workshop once where I can't remember her name. She was a coach called Lucy Johnson, maybe. Sorry, but she made us do this. She made us all close our eyes and imagine our lives exactly as it is right now. Imagining all the things we dislike about our lives right now. All the things that we want to change. Then she made us imagine ourselves 2 years on from now, where nothing changes, where everything we dislike stays the same. This is what's going to happen if you don't take those risks. If you don't face those uncomfortable situations, you're just going to get exactly the same. On the other hand, if you imagine yourself now, let's say 2, 3, 4 years from now, having achieved everything that you want to achieve, perhaps you have a different job, or perhaps you have been promoted, or perhaps you have an entirely new social situation. Perhaps you're living in a new house, a better house, and you're happier. Ask yourself what that future version of you had to do, what uncomfortable steps they had to take to get to where they are now, 5 years ahead. That is what you need to do now. If you want change, if you want growth, you're gonna have to take some uncomfortable steps. Number 8, remember, your gifts are yours to share with the world. That's why you have them. That's why they're called gifts, because it was given to you. And in the same way, I like to think they're meant to be paid forward. I think about how dull and grey my life would be now if those beautiful artists, the singers that I like, the musicians, the filmmakers, the novelists, the painters and the artists, if they never shared those gifts with the world, if they stayed stuck in their shell out of fear of being rejected or criticized or ridiculed, oh my goodness. What about the therapists and the healers and the coaches? Imagine some of the best therapists, healers, coaches maybe you've worked with. Imagine that they never had the guts to step forth and share their gifts with the world because they were scared of being ridiculed and mocked. Imagine all the beautiful experiences you never got to have, the healing you never got to have because of this. So just know that there are people out there for you who are in need of exactly what you have to offer. Exactly. And this is true now more than ever before, because as these times are getting increasingly chaotic and changeable, every single one of us has a very unique role to play. So please have the courage to take the uncomfortable action, to share your gifts with the world, because the world needs them. And you might be surprised at how much love you receive back and how heartwarming this can be and how transformational it will be for your own life as well as for all the other people's lives that you will have an effect on. So I hope this has helped. If you're still feeling stuck with fear, I'm going to make a tapping video that you can use to tap through to actually process and release any residual fears you might have, because I know that this is quite a common fear to have. So I'm wishing you a very beautiful week, sending much love.